Welcome to my presentation, MailMerge Magic. I would like to show you how you could use spreadsheets to be able to bulk create a lot of different types of documents or emails that you can use in your teaching or even in your personal life, family life, side hustles, that kind of thing. So the idea here is that with data that you have in a spreadsheet, that you collect this data that you have, you can convert all this data into a lot of different types of items, such as personalized letters. Maybe you're sending a letter home and you wanted to say, "Dear Johnny," and you want for each person, you want it to be personalized with their name at the top, and you don't want to have to retype every single name. You could pull all that data from a spreadsheet and it automatically spits out all those personalized letters. Same thing for address labels. If you're sending out greeting cards every year for Christmas, or if you're wanting to do graduation, etc. If you keep a running spreadsheet with names and addresses, it's easy to perform a mail merge and just start spitting out those labels one after another. You could do the same thing for name tags, certificates, receipts, and personalized emails. So I'm really going to talk about 4 different products today that will perform a mail merge or a bulk document operation. The first 2 are both extensions for Sheets. They're free programs to use. The idea is that you will open Sheets and you have all your spreadsheet data, and then you're going to add an extension which gives the spreadsheet the ability to do the mail merge and create all your other documents that you're wanting to make. Autocrat is very good at creating documents like Google Docs or slides, and don't be just confused that it's just a slide presentation you're making. You can put any kind of document into that slides presentation, like say a worksheet, and then it maybe automatically creates the name for each student in the classroom at the top of that worksheet. Formule outputs data to an email. Some powerful things you can do with that. Avery.com allows you to create or perform mail merges that allow you to create different Avery products, be that a name tag, business card, etc., etc. Then Canva, we all love Canva, so just think of anything you create on Canva being able to create a personalized, beautiful graphic, and then it's personalized for each person on your spreadsheet. Now, to perform a mail merge, you really need 2 items. First of all, you got to have the spreadsheet that I'm talking about that has all the data you're thinking of. Second, you need a document template with tags. And when I say tags, that's the greater than, less than you see there. Now, I want to go ahead and say the tags you really only need in Google Docs and Google Sheets. Canva works a little bit differently. Now, here's an example Google Doc that I send out every year, or create for Michigan Avenue, and they send it out. And the idea is they send out a letter that's personalized for each student to have their Bradley County Schools Gmail account log-on info, so that if the parents want to be able to log on to any content from home, they will have that username and password. So here are my tags, the greater than, less than symbols you see there. Now, what you would do is, when you start Autocrat, you would start it inside of your spreadsheet like you see over here, and you would go to extensions and you would turn on Autocrat. When Autocrat turns on, it'll ask you to select what is your template. And on this one, I pulled the template from the previous page. And from that template, we had first inside of the greater than, less than symbol. And we're going to map that tag to the column in my spreadsheet that says first name. So you see over here, for the first one, it's going to pull in John. Then wherever the tag is for last, it would map to the column that says last name, so on and so forth. Here are just some various templates I've used inside of Autocrat. For several different schools, I've created promotion certificates. So go into Canva, create something that looks good, and on this particular one I put it into Google Slides and then added a text box which says greater than, less than, name, and then I would pull the student's name from a spreadsheet that I had. And we'll talk about how you get data into a spreadsheet a little bit later. On the right-hand side, this is something I've done for Valley View with their digital leadership log, their student portfolios. They like for students to put in their iReady data for each benchmark, and that's quite an undertaking for a teacher to be able to get that data and then give it to the students so they know what to copy into their digital leadership logs. So what I've created here is I have a spreadsheet, first of all, that has all the student iReady data for the entire school, nearly 330 students. Then I go into this template here and I create a tag for each one of these categories, which are inside of my spreadsheet. Once I have mapped all these tags to a column in the spreadsheet, including the teacher name, student name, I click Start, and I walk away, and 5 minutes later I have a document that has one of these pages custom created for all 330 students for both iReady Reading and iReady Math. It's magic, I tell you. Previously, before I was a tech coach, I was a high school band director with almost 300 students in the band that I serviced, and one of my responsibilities was any dues, any money that came in, I was taking that money in, I was counting it, I was writing receipts, I was turning into the bookkeeper. My hand was so tired, especially at the beginning of the school year when we had things coming in for band dues. Maybe there was a trip that year, student apparel, parent apparel. So it was just an overwhelming amount of work by the time I counted all that money, and then did I count the money correctly. So I learned real quick, or maybe not real quick as I would have liked, but I learned that it was good for me to create a spreadsheet and have a tab for each day that I did a collection, numbered the receipts, put in the name for the student that was bringing the money in. I would have check number or a dollar sign if it was cash, the amount, what it was for, and date. Now, what was good, when I was finished for the day, I could just screenshot that and print it off, turn it in with my collection envelope, and the bookkeeper would have a running tab of what was supposed to be in there, which was great. And then I could always go back and see my data. If anybody questioned me if they had turned in a check, I could go back and look and see on my records real quickly to see if a check was written for a child. Then I added the idea of the receipt. So instead of me writing all these receipts for students, I was already collecting this info. I come up with this receipt pattern here. So it's pulling in a tag from the receipt column. It's pulling in from the name column, the date, check number, amount received, what it was for, and then I had my name. When I was done for the day, I just ran it. I already had my template set up. I hit run. 30 seconds later, I have receipts for maybe 100 students that had turned in money that day. Depending on the time of the year, I would get a lot on any given day. And then I would just print that out and literally 5-6 pages at a time, cut in between the lines, which you can see a line in between a receipt right here. It just saved me so much time once I had the template set up, and it definitely saved my hand from cramping. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Formule. What's cool about Formule is it allows you to create personalized email that goes out to a number of people that are on your spreadsheet. Think of this like a mailing list you probably get from like Target or whatever company that's out there. Maybe you have an email list for your classroom or an email list for your club or activity that you have. So if you have all this data from your families, just throw your email tag in here. You could personalize it with the person's name and then with any info that was in there. This is an email that's set up to run on a trigger, which means if a person submitted data to the spreadsheet, it would automatically send out an email. So if you ever signed up for something online, you immediately get an email that says, hey, thank you for signing up for et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is in essence how they're doing it. It's pulling in your name, your email address that you provided, and here's a confirmation of your address or shirt size. So this is just maybe a confirmation email that you could create for your families as they sign up. So the idea here is you could have a Google form set up with all of the data you want to collect, and all that data as they input it goes to the columns in a Google Sheets spreadsheet, which then allows you to automate these emails. Now, here is how you get the Autocrat and Formule extensions. If you've never used them before, inside of Google Sheets, you'll click on Extensions at the top, click on Add-ons, Get Add-ons. You'll be taken to an add-ons page that kind of looks like an app store. You will search for Autocrat or Formule, and then Add to Sheets. Once you have added them, they will then show up in this list further down. So then you could just click on Autocrat and begin. Avery.com basically works the same way. You upload a spreadsheet. By the way, this is completely free to set up an account on Avery.com. But you can go into Avery and say, I have a business card that I want to create an image on, or maybe you have a sticker that you want to use. So you could go in and say, well, I have Avery template 5371, like we have here, the 2 inch by 4 inch size label. Actually, this is a business card, now that I think about it. You would then import your data, and you can add text, you can add images, and what you see in yellow is the data that it's actually pulling from your spreadsheet. And this is just looking at one business card, but over here you will see what the whole page would look like when it prints out. So there's 10 business cards per page, and you can actually click on each one to preview what each person's business card would look like. So super powerful. This is the program that I believe all tech coaches are using to create login cards for elementary school students that need login cards. The last product I want to talk about is Canva, because Canva is great. It's really an all-in-one shop for creating any kind of designs like certificates, posters. You could create worksheets in here. Especially my elementary people, you want to create all those cute little special things for your students, and you want them to be personalized with the student's name. So what you can do is start creating your design, which I've chopped it off here. You would create your design, then go over to the left to Apps, and scroll until you see Bulk Create. When you click on Bulk Create, it'll ask you to attach a spreadsheet, which you will upload, and then it will show you all the columns you have in your spreadsheet with the data that's in each of those columns. You can then go and let's say you have a text box where you want the name to be on your particular Canva project. You would click on it and a menu would pop up and you would say Connect Data, and you would click on whichever column name that you would want to map the data from. When you're done, you hit I'm done, and then it starts spitting out or creating a page or multiple pages of personalized document, whatever it is you're creating, with all the information from your spreadsheet. It's quite powerful. Last thing is, how do you create these spreadsheets that I'm talking about? Well, number one, your tech coach or your secretary might be able to do a Synergy download for you, depending on what kind of data you're needing. If it's just strictly student data, maybe a little bit of parent data, they can pull a spreadsheet from Synergy for you. Another big recommendation, especially if you've got a club, after-school activity, sports team, is I would recommend that you create a Google form at the beginning of the year and have your parents just fill that out and ask all the questions you could possibly ever think of wanting to know the answer to. Student name, student date of birth, address, phone numbers for parents, first contact, second contact, third contact, shirt size. Just think of anything that you need to know from parents throughout the year or about their students or themselves, and ask it in a form at the very beginning of the season. Let them fill that out, and then you have a database that you can connect to any of these documents and create a document off of information that's inside of that spreadsheet. If nothing else, you have a large database that if you ever have a kid that's not getting picked up on time and you're not sure, the first parent or two's phone number didn't work, maybe you go to contact number 3 that you have on your spreadsheet. So just something handy to have. Final way is just to hand type the information that you need, and that's totally possible to do. It's just a lot of work, but on the front end, typing that information in one time is better than typing it multiple times with different documents throughout the school year. I hope you've found this helpful. You should have found this video inside of the Schoology folder. Alongside this document, I have, or this video, I have a link to my actual presentation, as well as 3 other videos for Autocrat, Formule, and for Avery.com to actually walk you through step by step how to use those platforms whenever you want to make your first mail merge. I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me, cburris@bradleyschools.org.